to the OC Politics Show, keeping politics bipartisan, local, and on the level.
I'm Joe Matthews.
And I'm Todd DeVoe.
Todd, it's election debrief 2020. We finally got here. Nationally, final votes are coming in at a snail's pace. Will it be like it in 2018? Congressional nail biters dominate the day and night. Hey, let's hear for Tito Ortiz.
Woo!
A new mayor in 25 years in Santa Ana. Did your proposition of choice pass? The blue wave just hit a red tide. Yeah.
Yeah. Or did it?
Or did it? And now for the political whip around. All right.
Oh man, this has been. How many years have we been in 2020 now? You know, it's like, holy smoke! And I'm like I remember it used to be like, oh, here it is, holiday season, boop. All of a sudden the year's over. We're celebrating the 2021 coming in, and it just seems like I don't think this year has stopped. It's like Groundhog's Day, and this election was like Groundhog's Day. I mean, like I remember waking up every morning, and for the last few days, and seeing the exact same, state results going on. I don't think. I was talking to Brian about Alaska. I'm like, how can Alaska only be like a 50%? And Brian's like, yeah, man, they have to bring it in through like dog sleds and snowmobiles. It's a good point. But we're gonna get into the latest Orange County election results, and we're gonna reveal the tight battles between national, state, and local seats. And man, are they tight!
We're gonna look at the official results of your proposition, and did it pass or fail in your eyes?
In your eyes. It's a good song, by the way. At election 2020, 5 of Orange County's state and federal races remain too close to call. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, all right. So the latest Orange County election results reveal tight battles for national, state, and local results. And man, I'm telling you, this, if you want to talk about a divided nation, right? I'm talking about, as far as 50-50, maybe even like more than that, because I mean, if you take a look at the third party, now I gotta make an announcement here for those that have not been following. My candidate of choice did not win the national election. JoJo, she came in a distant third, to say the least.
She's number one with 1%.
Number one with 1%. 1% Orange County. She's gotten some bigger numbers in some other states. For a third party candidate who had no platform. What I mean by that is that no one else, unless you knew who she was, right? So no one can actually learn about her. That's one thing about the interesting thing about the national elections when it comes to the presidential elections, is that with the election commission, it's made up of Democrats and Republicans, and they ice out any third candidate. And everybody was afraid since the Ross Perot days of having that third candidate up there.
Hey, I was watching the CNN results, and what I thought was interesting is that they were always comparing it to 2016. And in 2016, they'd list the third-party candidates, right? Mm-hmm. But this year, they didn't mention the third-party candidates at all when they would look at the election results, right? They had Jill Stein, what's his name, Johnson, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but they would have their pictures there and their percentages there with the ballot results. But when it came down to 2020, it was just the two. So it's like they're siphoning off the existence of them, right? By cutting them out.
Absolutely.
By not using them. And so it was like, wow, that's weird that CNN did that. But it makes perfectly good sense if you're trying to make it nice and convenient and take away those people.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the goal, right? I mean, when I say the goal, if you take a look at the election commission, hang on a second. Excuse me. I take a look at the election commission. You take a look at the whole gambit up there. It's controlled by the Democrats and Republicans, and we wonder why that there's these problems, right? I mean, like at the end of the day, you feel like there's only two choices, and are you really being represented? And that's a whole other story here. But yeah, so we're going down that pipeline. So now we have presidential elect potentially, right, with lawsuits and everything going on. We'll just keep it as the asterisk right now. Joe Biden up there, which I don't see him anything being turned over or changed. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the goal is of the lawsuits. I was talking to a professor the other day of constitutional law, legit professor of constitutional law for Stanford University. Yeah, so it's not even like a guy who's at like Western Law School, right?
Smart people.
And he had some interesting things to say about this. One is he thinks that the way the way that the elections are being run right now, nationwide, do not actually meet the constitutional requirements and the legal requirements set forth by the Federal Election Commission, or by the federal elections, by the 1942 law, whatever it was, that said it's going to be the second Tuesday of every month. Yeah, he thinks like everybody's outside of that law, and that realistically the election day has to happen on the election. Now you can have like mail-in ballots where people fill them in and everybody drops them off at the ballot box or whatever, but he's saying like that mail-in ballots, the way they're being done right now, potentially are unconstitutional. What do you think of that, Joseph?
I think they're going to look at this whole process again to streamline it, because people are they're going to prefer it. It's convenient, and it increases voter participation, and they'll change the law if they have to. But I don't think the mail-in ballot is going to go out the window with 2020.
I've been doing mail-in ballots for years, basically because when I was working in EMS, there are days and you couldn't, you could be, you wouldn't be available to go vote, right? So I was voting absentee, and that's what they called it. So I don't have a fundamental issue against mail-in ballots necessarily. I think, excuse me, I think the early voting might be a problem, and I mean this. I don't know. I'm just going by what he was saying. I think the early voting might be a problem, and I think the idea, like what Pennsylvania is doing, is saying, well, you can mail it in, and whatever, 4 or 5 days later, don't worry about it. We'll still count it. So, there's a question. Did Kanye West get more votes than Joe?
No, Joe won more.
Yeah.
Joe won more. Because it was Rock DeGuerra. Well, in Orange County, 0.3%.
Nationwide too, I think. But Kanye West was not on all 50 ballots. But Joe. See, I think that's what instead of going the percentage of vote that you get, right? I think I should go with, are you on all 50 ballots? And so the Green Party and the Libertarian Party had a candidate, had the presidential candidate on all 50 ballots. And I think that, or 50 states, I'm sorry, on all 50 states. And I think that should be the underlying reason to get on the stage, not this arbitrary amount of numbers that come in. You know what I mean? Because it just doesn't. I mean, you potentially, even though practically speaking, you're probably not going to get elected, because Democrats are going to vote for Democrats, Republicans are going to vote for Republicans, and then the people in the middle will choose either other way, right? But the idea of having you on all 50 ballots, you could potentially win the election. But however, with the fact that their voices were silenced completely, is one of the things that you go, well, and not that I agree necessarily with the Green Party. Fundamentally, I don't. But they should have the voice, right? I mean, that's how I feel. I mean, they're on all 50 ballots or 50 states. They should have the choice. But I digress a little bit again. So here we look at this thing, right? we'll go back to Orange County. The election results reveal tight battles for national, state, and local. And I mean, Joe, you and I were talking this morning in our pre-briefing here about some of the county or the elections aren't. Oh my gosh, I can't speak this morning.
Orange County still has 16% left to be counted.
16, 1-6, right?
1-6 of the provisional votes be counted. So we don't have official results. Now we have tight races, but there's been, there'll be an update at 5 o'clock today, and until they're done. Now I don't know what their cutoff day is for final registration or final ballot count is, but as of right now, it's still unofficial results.
That's well, I mean, that's what we said before. Oh my gosh, that's what we said before, that we've had the mail-in ballots, and like I said, there are so many issues in other states with mail-in ballots that this was going to be a problem, and I didn't think that we were going to have any real results until December. I'm actually surprised that they called the presidential election so early. The fact that I thought it was going to be deeper into December, although technically I guess it's not called yet, until December 13th or 14th, I suppose, is when it is. So let's talk about Orange County elections with some interesting results.
Well, you want to talk about Young Kim and Gil Cisneros? That's a good place to start.
Yes.
Now, Young Kim is only 4,000 votes ahead, so it's a 1% margin right now. And
yes.
that flip back and forth. Gil was winning, then Young was winning, and then Gil was winning. So it's been a seesaw battle. So it's still not been called.
No, it has not been called. Although she's in the lead right now. And according to the newspaper this morning, that is 98% counted. So there's still 2% outline on that one to make this a whole thing. We talked about the red tide a little bit. There's a couple other congressional races in Orange County that flipped, that were blue with the freshman, and I think only Katie Porter survived unscathed. Am I correct on that, Joe?
Well, I got Katie Porter and Lou Carrera and Alan Lowenthal. He's up in Long Beach, but he touches Orange County line. But Michelle Steele and Harley Ruda, that's the race that's still yet to be called, and that's a 1% race as well.
Who's in the lead?
Right now, it's Michelle Steele.
Right, and then Levin lost, right?
Well, when I checked it out, he has votes in San Diego County. His congressional district, 49 congressional district, hits both Orange County and San Diego County. He lost to Marriott in Orange County, but he made up the votes from San Diego County. So he is the winner. Well, he hasn't been. He's in the lead, I should say.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. It's funny. I know that my friends and the Democrats always complain about some of the gerrymandering that's going on in other states in favor of the Republicans, but man, they fail to. That's what I love about being an independent, is you get to look at both sides, but they fail to see the gerrymandering that goes on here in California. Like, why would Rossmore, which is a very conservative area, be spooned out of Orange County and put into a Long Beach area, which is a very liberal area? You know what I mean? So silence those votes of those conservative Orange County people. Anyway, it is. I digress. I just find that kind of interesting that gerrymandering has been used. It's used to silence, to be honest with you. But anyway, I digress. Yes. Thank you, Robert. Robert says I'm going through puberty. Yeah, thank you, buddy. I love it. Appreciate that. Yeah. Put a picture up, Robert, so I can see your face.
So our favorite felon, Andrew Doe, is he's just squeaking by right now with 51% to 48%. So, like I said, there's 2% left to be counted, and so technically he's still in the lead. Right?
Hang on a second. And he's an alleged felon. He has not been convicted yet.
Oh, that's true. He has 2 different counts. Of so
we are still innocent.
Well, he's still in the win. People still didn't care and still voted that way, even though that hung over his head.
Well, okay, there's 2 things on this. One is you're innocent until proven guilty. Just want to say that. So it's an alleged issue right now. Second thing is that where he is running, which I didn't realize how right, far to the right, the Vietnamese community is.
Well, they came out and voted.
Not only, but I mean, like they literally did a Trump train where they had like 250 vehicles that met in Westminster parking lot and they drove from Westminster to Virginia for a Trump rally, and did Trump rallies and picked up additional Vietnamese community members, and they all ended up in DC. I was like,
wow.
Holy smoke. Yeah. With the Vietnamese flags flying, the from the old Vietnam, not the current Vietnam flag, flying, and Trump flags flying. So that's and that's, again, politics goes to show that you have the Democrat, and regardless if he's doing it or not, right? Let's just say he's doing it. You have the Secretary of State of California getting involved in elections in a local election because they see him being vulnerable and going after him with these legal stuff. So I think it's interesting to see that's a tactic, again, that you have when you have. I don't think the Secretary of State should be a partisan position because they have so much power when it comes to elections. I think that they should. I think this should be a nonpartisan person,
independent,
completely. Yeah.
So do you want to talk about state races too?
Well, let's keep it local here. So what happened in Huntington Beach?
Tito. It's all about Tito. Okay, so Tito won the general election, and the way this thing's worked is there was 15 candidates up for election, and Tito made the top 3 and the top position, making him a councilman elect. So congratulations, Tito. The first thing Tito did was call out Trump and ask for the California voting to be redone. So I thought that was kind of interesting. He's going long and hard on the first day before he even starts the job.
I kind of want to go to city council meetings now just to see. Could you imagine if Tito Ortiz, he gets mad,
yeah,
and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, there's like, he's like, oh yeah, come on, he can just start pounding on the other council members. That'd be like a lot of fun. I don't know,
like a suplex, like boom,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, like WWE.
Head in the the head in the
Yeah.
I could just see, yeah.
Have you seen Idiocracy?
Oh yeah.
I mean, like,
we're headed there. Someday over the rainbow.
Oh my God, we're gonna be there. I can just see, like, going to the city council meeting, Tito Ortiz like takes the freaking AR, starts shooting the freaking ceiling. Shut up, I said. Everybody, if you have not seen Idiocracy, that's homework. Okay, as Professor DeVoe is giving homework out today that you must watch that movie and then come back and do a book report on it on how the United States is actually heading towards that way. It was supposed to be a comedy, but now it's I think somebody did time machine travel, and it was a warning on where we will be in the future. And that's just my rant on that. All right, so keep it on topic here. What happened in Santa Ana?
Santa Ana got a new mayor, Vincent Serrano. He won out of a field of 5. Also, the first Cambodian won a city council position, which is pretty historic for Santa Ana. Thai Vet Pham. And then a bunch of progressives, Jesse Lopez and Jonathan Ryan Hernandez came in as city council elects. So 3 new city council members and a new mayor. So potentially changing the direction politically in the city for the first time in 25 years.
So tell me a little bit more about those progressives that are there. What do they want to do?
Well, they just claim to be, Bernie Sanders supporters and kind of, free college education, that sort of stuff.
Okay, gotcha. I saw, and I'm looking for the article. I don't see it, but I noticed that the union is under Santa Ana Police Department union is under investigation.
And the head guy, especially he was the one that kind of made threats, or pretty aggressive with their city council members,
right?
With trying to get things done, and just looking bad.
So now with these new city council members in, is that redistricting thing that they're, or not redistricting, but the rezoning thing that they're doing for the, what's it called? Brian, what's it called again? The where they're doing some rezoning in Santa Ana?
The opportunity zone.
Thank you. The opportunity
zones. Yeah.
Is that going to change the opportunity zone stuff, you think? Because if they're progressive, probably don't want to see a lot of gentrification, if you will.
It's too soon to tell, I guess. I mean, these are pretty established zones. There's already, the streets are busy with construction already. So things have been broken ground has happened. So I don't see them getting out their stop signs and making it all go away.
It's interesting because I mean, a lot of that is going to be changing the face of what Santa Ana looks like. So maybe that might interesting stuff going on right there in Santa Ana. So what's happening in Anaheim? Did the mobile home park people win?
Well, they haven't. I haven't heard anything about their recall effort, but all their incumbents that were up for re-election were kicked out, and Disney backed up all 3 candidates.
So Disney lost.
No, Disney won. Disney backed all 3 candidates.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
There was one. Her name was Denise. Oh, can't think of her name. She was kind of on the other side of the law when it came to Disneyland. She was against kind of Disney subsidies, and she is no longer a city councilman after the new year. So Josh Diaz, Avelino Valencia, and Steve Fessel are all new city councilmen, and we still have the same mayor for Anaheim. So not much is going to change, right?
Right.
But in Irvine, guess what? Coolest name ever. Farah Khan is the mayor of Irvine. Booted out the incumbent, and our guy Mike Carroll, who got himself in trouble.
He lost.
He squeaked in.
What?
He squeaked in, but it's still too early to tell. We can't call the race, but he slipped into the top 3, and there's 1,000 votes separating him. So he could find himself on the wrong side, but he was losing early on because
he was losing.
Yeah. So if you check right now, he's in the second position of a top 3 race. So yeah.
That's wow. That guy, Like, if that guy wins, I want to go give him a hug because, man, he's it's maybe he
And
should
the
go
current-
like up. Do you think if he went in the great balloon and like threw out his flyers, that would work?
It's like the olden days.
He's being littered. Well, he'd probably be arrested for littering or something. Then what's
Yeah.
that occurred? Oh my gosh, that is too funny. So let's talk about some propositions and ballot props, right?
Props. Now the state says they're not going to finalize their election until 31 days from now. So on December, the results will be certified by December 11th, 2020. So there's been a couple of flips, but not a lot. These are pretty hard and fast numbers. So for the bonds that continue STEM research, ballot 14, that was the first ballot, that did pass, and that was a continuation of more research money for stem cell research. Okay with that? Are you fine with that?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. The next one was property tax to fund schools and government services. 15. That was a big fat no on raising taxes, but only by a million votes. That's all.
Right.
Let's see here. Affirmative action for government decisions. Affirmative action in government decisions was a big no,
Well,
and that lies by 6%.
I mean, that's a retread, right? I mean, they keep the law came out saying affirmative action was illegal or unconstitutional or whatever, and the way it was written, I mean, and so this is like the third or fourth time that they've tried to put that back on the ballot.
Yeah, they lost by 14%.
Wow, I got beat bad.
Restores right to vote after prison term. Proposition 17. That was a yes. They actually said.
Now you have to. Excuse me. So you have to complete your term. You can't be on parole or probation. You have to be off completely. And
you can be on parole. You can you finish your prison sentence. That was the difference.
Oh,
you can finish, yeah, and that's why people kind of push back on the negative side. Was it that parole was part of your sentence, but the way the proposition is written, it's once you've done your prison time, then you can vote.
Oh yeah, I'm not keen on that because parole. I mean, when you're on parole, you're on parole. I mean, you're in or probation for that matter. You're still, and then once you've done your debt to society, I agree that you could. My opinion is, and this is going to be controversial right here, right? Once you're done with your debt to society, you're done through parole, probation. You're done. You're no longer part of the legal system. You should have all your rights restored, everything.
Right.
Right to be able to buy a gun, vote. Everything else, travel.
So, 17-year-old primary voting rights. Big fat no.
Good. I talked to my son about that.
I talked to my daughter about that.
Yeah.
What did your son say?
He said that he doesn't think that him or his friends have enough information to be able to vote. That because they're just like all just busy doing other things besides paying attention to elections, and that he doesn't think that they should have the right to vote.
That's exactly what my daughter said. She was saying they have to rearrange the classes so you get your government classes in your junior year, so you can at least deduce what government's doing for you. So that was her big thing. They don't have government civics classes till you're a senior. So you're in the middle of your government class when you're voting, and that gives you a little less information to make it. They can't debate in class. They can't, you know what I mean? So that's just the way.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I get it, and I think there's some kids that are out there that are aware, politically aware. I mean, I was pretty politically aware when I was in high school. you know what I mean? Woke is not the word I want to use. It's politically aware. So I'd like to use politically aware. Woke means that you freaking are not woke because you say things that are really freaking weird that, you know, that don't make sense. Anyway, and so I think, you know, I get the fact that they're like, I want to participate. But the thing is too, is and this is what I think, and again, I'm stepping out a little bit. I think those that are woke, quote unquote woke, that really were pushing this thing, we're looking as a block of voters, the younger voters, 17, some cases 16 for local elections, to that tend to be a little bit more manipulative, but you can manipulate them, mold them a little bit more, and say weird things like, "Hey, man," because you remember, like in high school, it's like, "Yeah, vote for you know Jimmy for class president because he's gonna make every day pizza day." Yeah, you know, and you're like, everyone's like, pizza day every day. I'm gonna vote for that guy. So I mean, you know, you do that with these kids, and you go, "Hey, you know, we're gonna do things like we're gonna reduce the, you know." We're gonna make it so it's easier for you to go ice skating, you know, and your parents can't say no, and they're like, "Yeah, F the parents," you know, whatever. I'm just making the shit up as I go along here, but you know, it's like, they don't really understand the ramifications when they say, "Hey, let's vote yes on this tax raise." This, and I'll give you a good example. Everybody's like going off on the idea of raising taxes on, and we'll talk about this here in a second, on rental properties, right? Well, guess what's going to happen? We're going to now, I own rental property, and now if our taxes go up on rental property, now we're going to have to raise the rent, because I'm not a rich guy. I'm not sitting there smoking cigars on my yacht with the way they made the commercial look, right? And, you know, going skiing in Vail or whatever. You know, we're living day by day like everybody else is. We just happen to have some extra property that we're renting out. So that means we're going to have to raise rent on those properties. That's what we're going to have to do, or sell them. And that's what they want, I guess. But I mean, yeah, I mean, there's when they do stuff like that, they don't see the ramifications, and obviously they don't understand. Well, you know, where did my money go? Why did the rent go up? Well, the rent go up because you just tax everybody. You know, I mean, it's you know, and they're like, "Oh, it's unfair. They shouldn't be able to do that." Well, they're gonna have to get the money somehow. Anyway, that's my rant. Go ahead.
So speaking of property taxes, there was a Proposition 19 that changed that I'm still trying to wrap my head around, but it passed by 2%, 3%. So
that's gonna kill family farms. That's gonna kill family farms right there, because what you can't do is you cannot give hand property down to the next generation, or at least with the taxes, right? So in other words, you and your wife decide to give that house that you're living in to one of your kids, unless the kid is living there, residing in that property, then they you know, then taxes go up. So what you're seeing now are people with farms, family farms, that would give them the generations, you know, 7th generation farming here, and unless they're living on that farm and working that farm that way, it's not going to work. So yeah, you just crushed family farms. You crushed a lot of being able to give homes and real property to keep it within the family. And yeah, congratulations, California. You just fucked that up.
okay. All right. So parole restrictions on certain offenses, no. That's a no on 20. Let me just fly through these things because we're running out of time here. Expands government authority to rent control was a big no. That was a 21. The app-based drivers and employee benefits, that was a yes. And that won by almost 15%. I can't say when. They haven't called any of this stuff, but that's a sizable gap margin to make up. State requirements for the kidney dialysis clinics, it was a no. That was 23. and amend consumer privacy laws. It's 24. That was a yes by 11%, and then eliminates bail money system. And that was a big no. So I was kind of disappointed that I really wanted the bail system to get wiped away because I think it's unfair. But I think the opposition put out some pretty convincing ads saying that the computers were going to run the world on that one.
It was a weird algorithm thing that they wanted to do.
Yeah, but
so basically, what they're doing is they're saying, "Here's the bail, say $50,000." And then you have to see if you actually give $50,000 worth of value back to the community. Okay, that's a weird. You're right. I mean, so in other words, like, say you're working and you have a family, and okay, that's worth $50,000. But if you're not working, and you're or you're working on the streets, whatever, does that value up there? And so it actually ends up benefiting the middle class more than anything else. So anyway, this is an interesting way they were looking at doing that. But okay, go ahead. Sorry.
But the judges are, in the fine print of that proposition, it said the judges would have a final, say so of what would happen. So it's unfortunate because, I've had friends who've gone through that and it's very painful.
Yes, I know, and I agree. It was just I think this is.
They're still in jail. They're still in jail. No, I'm just kidding. They could be. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's a good point. It's a good point, and I think the bail system needs to be revisited for sure. I don't remember. I voted. I don't remember how I voted on that one, but I just remember looking at some of the stuff on there, and it was the way it was written was kind of odd. But yeah, no, bail, the whole criminal justice system needs to be reformed a bit. And I have my own views on that, but that's besides the point. We're getting late here in the show, so what do you got? What else you got going on, Joe?
That's all I wrapped up with. That's just the fact that all these results are still pending, and we just played pretend who won today.
So basically, I have less information now than we had before, or not less, but different information. And so, Brian, how are you doing today, bud?
Right as rain.
Right as rain. Well, I'm going to tell you something, everybody, that I would be remiss if I did not say happy birthday a day early to my brother over there, Brian Colburn, for the Marine Corps birthday. So tomorrow will be I wish tomorrow was a Friday because I would like to go out and do some things. So tomorrow is the Marine Corps birthday, Semper Fi. And so you're going to see a bunch of Marines and some cool-ass Navy corpsmen out drinking beers at various different places, or maybe more than just beer. And so tomorrow would not be a day to try to pick a fight with anybody, because you have old guys like me and Brian who think we're young and would not mind scuffling a little bit. And then, then you got young guys who are young and ready to fight, just because that's just the fun things to do when you're a Marine and drinking on Marine Corps birthday. So
run for breakfast.
Speaking of that, we should go for breakfast tomorrow. I know we're busy, but we should go for breakfast tomorrow over to, what's the name of that restaurant in Fountain Valley? Where they
I think it's Paul's or John's.
Paul's.
Yeah. A lot of people don't realize that Marines were paid back in the day with rum as a stipend to their earnings. And it was rationed daily. So I've been saving mine up for tomorrow.
Tomorrow. It's going to be a good day. So what do you think of the election results there, Brian?
I think people have spoken.
Some people, yeah.
A lot of people. I mean, dude, the turnout was awesome. And kudos to that guy that was born in 1867. Freaking lived a long, healthy life. I want some of what you got.
This is my favorite statistic of this whole entire thing. So, Donald Trump has received more votes for president of the United States than any other person who ran for president besides Joe Biden. That's crazy. So yeah, so if Donald Trump was right now, look at his the number of people who voted for him, has more votes than Barack Obama got, more votes than George Bush, more votes than Ronald Reagan, right? Except Joe Biden has got more votes than that. Is that crazy? That's how many people voted. You know, the only
places, right?
Yeah. The only thing that scares me, and I'm being serious right now, that there are some people that are on the left side of the thing, that AOC, for instance, Robert Reich, they have called for a reconciliation commission and re-education camps for Trump supporters. You know, and yeah, that's really going down that Mao Zedong road. You know, if you think about the people from Vietnam who are living here now, who had in Cambodia, for instance, who had teachers, they had local politicians, dog catchers, that level per person, swooped up and brought to education camps. You know, it scares me to think that that's something that people, the Nazis did it, the Russians did it, the Soviets. And if you think that there's actual elected officials and high profile politicians or political appointees that think that's a good thing, it scares the shit out of me, to be honest with you.
Todd, I think you're forgetting the one thing, that they're all politicians, and politicians make promises they have no intentions on keeping, and they're all fucking liars. So you can't jump off the cliff because some asshat says something that you don't agree with.
I'm not saying I don't agree with it. I don't think it's going to happen.
For example, Trump was going to drain the swamp. The only swamp he drained was his own cabinet.
It's true.
Trump was going to build a wall and Mexico is going to pay for it. Didn't happen. You know? I mean,
yeah. But Robert Reich is not a politician. He's not running for anything. He is a intellectual thinker, has been, in a cabinet. But for the thing is for people that have that level, if you saw, like, I don't know, some Giacomo, Nazi guy, who's wearing his swastika hat or whatever, running at the mouth, you go, okay, that's a terrible person, but he has no real say in what's happening, but you have somebody that is elected official right now. You have somebody who has his people are sharing the means, and that means that they didn't necessarily agree with it, of this type of stuff. That's the stuff that kind of like goes, ooh, where are we at?
Okay, so let's take a step back. Did he just publish a book? Did he, what motivated him to say that, to put him into a limelight?
He's in the limelight because he's just that guy. What do you think, Joe? I mean, that's one of your guys, isn't it?
Reich makes a lot of sense, but I haven't heard this whole going to camps. I haven't heard that yet. It doesn't sound like him. It sounds pretty radical to me. So I don't know. I'd have to check the facts. Could be fake news for all I know.
Well, it comes from his Twitter, and this is what he says.
Now, does he manage his own Twitter?
Yeah.
You know that for sure.
When this nightmare is over, this is Robert Reich, the real Robert Reich. When this nightmare is over, we need Truth and Reconciliation Commission. It would erase Trump's lies and comfort those who have been harmed by his hatefulness, and name every official, politician, executive, and media mogul whose greed and cowardice enabled this catastrophe. Robert Reich. So that's it's that state right there. The idea of naming all these people, and then another person went a step further, basically saying that anybody who supported Trump should not be be able to be a faculty, teach children, went through a whole other list of things, have any like position of work. at all. So, and I got to find that. I'll find that tweet as well. But
you follow some strange people and come across some strange feeds.
You know what? You know who I get this from? To be honest with you, like a lot of these tweets, it comes from people who I know dearly. That are, so I mean, it's not like it's just these strange feeds. Just as things are being put on, the Facebook shared, So Robert Reich is. I have two close friends, and I have a my sister's sister-in-law, who I've known forever. She's an attorney for the New York State in New York State, and she shares this stuff as well. She works for the state, New York State's Attorney General. That's who she works for.
Was Robert Reich the former Secretary of Labor?
Yes.
Is it pronounced Reich or Reich?
Reich.
Just saying.
Right. And the other one's AOC. She's saying this stuff.
Yeah, but dude, people say stuff. You can't take it at face value. You really can't, because I mean, you've read the book How to Win an Election, Cicero, wasn't it? Hello?
I'm sorry. I was looking.
Is this thing working?
I understand this. I understand that. But the thing is that we would not tolerate, and I mean, like, the left lost their minds on simple things that Trump would say. That was just because he runs his mouth weirdly. You know what I mean? I mean, like, Jesus Christ, they lost their minds when he said, stand down. Right. Because when the moderator was asked him to say it, he said it, of course he's a little retarded, I think. Oh, I'm going to get in trouble for that. He's a little, runs his mouth without thinking sometimes. And he, said that what did he say, Joe? Stand down, stand by,
stand by. But then when the election happened, he said that order has been rescinded. Yeah. So,
right. I mean, I'm just saying, like, he says stuff like that, and like people lose their minds. Does he mean anything by it? I don't know.
One thing I can tell you with 100% certainty, my old industry is going to do well the next 4 years. I kind of wish I was back in sales right now, because people that freak out over a spoken word are going to start dumping cash into that industry. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but everyone was so worried about Obama taking office. Oh my God, it's going to destroy America. I can look out the window, flag still flying.
Yeah, I could. I'm not saying that. Again, my point is not saying that these things are going to happen tomorrow, right? I don't think that they're going to revamping the FEMA camps and all that kind of stuff that people were worried about. The conspiracy theories. My point is these are people that are saying some things that wouldn't be tolerated before, that are being tolerated. And what the quote is: what one generation tolerates, the other one embraces. So, I mean, what's that mean? I mean, AOC, she's a little. Everybody knows she's a little bit out there. Right. I mean, as far as on the political spectrum. But I mean, she's got enough power that the group, what's it called? The squad, Joe? Is it what they call them? The squad?
I believe it's the squad. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the squad is actually moving the needle.
Well, once upon a time, I was told Kanye West was going to be my president too.
Okay. Craziness.
People say things is my point.
Yeah, but again, it's not people like just some random person.
Dude, it's a human being that puts his pants on the same way I do, that has an ego, that gets their feelings hurt, that wants to be larger than they are.
Yeah, I don't think that Robert Reich wants to be larger than he is because he's only like 4'2".
Ooh.
On that note,
see you guys next week, by the way. Thank you, everybody, for listening to us here at the OC Politics Show. And, as fun as we're trying to have here, please remember, stay involved, stay local, and follow us on your favorite podcast player and here at Facebook. Until next week, see you guys later. Love you all. Take care.
For those of you who voted, we appreciate you participating in this process.
Yes.